Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Movesets video. Today's video is going to be all about Articuno, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Articuno is an Ice Flying type Pokemon introduced into Generation 1 as one of the original legendary Pokemon, and has access to two abilities, the first of which being Pressure, which causes your opponent to lose twice the amount of PP that they normally would when they attack Articuno, and the second ability being Snow Cloak, which is its hidden ability that allows Articuno to have its evasion increased while Hail is up on the battlefield. But as for its stats, Articuno is very bulky, possessing a base 90 HP stat, 100 defense stat, and 125 special defense stat to allow this Pokemon to take hits very well from its opponents. And being a flying type, it has access to Roost, which allows it to heal off that damage that it takes from them very easily. On the other hand, for its offenses, it possesses a base 85 physical attack and a 95 special attack, which allows this Pokemon to do some pretty good damage with both physical and special attacking moves. However, its physical move pool is very shallow, so you're really not going to make use of that. And as for its speed stat, it's a pretty nice base 85, which allows this Pokemon to be pretty fast in the battlefield and outspeed a bunch of things that it might be matched up against, but it won't be one of the fastest things in the world when using it, so keep that in mind. And as far as current Smogon tiering is concerned, Articuno finds itself in the PU tier. So with that, let's take a look at the first moveset that I have for you in this video. So for this first moveset, we're going to begin by running Articuno Specially Offensive. So we're going to start by giving it either a Timid nature to boost its speed but lower its physical attack, or a Naive nature to boost its speed but lower its special defense, and then going with either the Pressure or Snow Cloak ability, depending on whether or not you're going to be using this Pokemon on a Hail team. But for the EVs, we're going to put 4 into its defense, and then max out its special attack and its speed stats with 252 EVs into both of those. And for this set, we can run quite a few items, the first being a Choice Scarf to lock us into a move while increasing our speed, the second being Choice Specs to lock us into a move while increasing our special attack, the third being Leftovers for some recovery at the end of every turn, which does work really well on this Pokemon even on a more offensive set, because it allows it to still make use of its pretty good defenses and last for a bit longer. We could also use a Z Crystal to allow this Pokemon to have a super powerful move of any of the types of attacks that it has on the set, a Wiki Berry to allow this Pokemon to recover 50% of its health when it falls below 25% of its health, which could be very common after 2 Stealth Rock switch-ins because this Pokemon is 4 times weak to Stealth Rock, so this will actually give you a third switch-in. And then the last option that we could also run is a Wide Lens to increase your accuracy, because the set does rely on one move in particular, which is Hurricane, to deal damage of the flying type that is a little bit inaccurate in and of itself because it only has a base 70 accuracy, so a Wide Lens can help mitigate that accuracy a little bit. But in addition to your Stab Hurricanes, which are going to be very powerful, we're going to run a Stab Ice type attack in the form of either Freeze Dry or Blizzard if you're going to be using this with Hail, but Freeze Dry being a great option all around because it obviously can hit Water types super effectively as well. Then for your third attack, we can either go with Hidden Power Fire or Hidden Power Ground for some additional type coverage, specifically against Steel types, because Articuno doesn't have a way of damaging them super effectively outside of running a Hidden Power, which is quite unfortunate. But if you want to run the set a little bit more defensively, we could also run Roost on this set to allow this Pokemon to recover some HP very reliably, which can be really useful on this set, even though this is a more offensive one, because Articuno just has a lot of good natural bulk in general. And for the last move on the set, we're going to go with U-Turn to allow this Pokemon the ability to switch in and out of battle very easily, which is very useful on one of the choiced variants, and it will also just allow this Pokemon to scout its teammates and allow you to get some switch initiative, which can help out your team in gaining a victory in the battle. As for this next moveset, we're going to be running Articuno as a boosting sweeper, so we're going to start this one off by giving it either a Timid nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack, or a Modest nature to increase its special attack but lower its physical attack if you want a bit more damage. Again though, we're going to go between Pressure or Snow Cloak, depending on whether or not you're going to be using this with Hail, and we're also going to go with the same EV spread to maximize our special attack and speed stats, but for the item on the set, we're either going to go with the Life Orb to increase the damage of all of our attacks at the cost of losing 10% of our health every time we damage an opponent, or a Z Crystal to correspond to one of our stab attacks to give us a super powerful move of that type, which in this case would be Flying MZ or Icy MZ. But for the moves, the first one that we're going to go with, since this is a boosting set, is going to be Agility, which is going to allow Articuno to boost its speed stat by 2 stages, and thus allow it to pretty much outspeed everything that it's going to be matched up against. In addition to this, we're then going to run Hurricane as our main stab flying type attack, and then we're also going to choose again between Freeze Dry or Blizzard if you're going to use this with Hail, to allow this Pokemon to have a reliable Ice type stab attack to go for as well. And then finally, Hidden Power Fire or Hidden Power Ground to allow this Pokemon to deal with opposing Steel types, as well as possibly even some Fire types as well, since they will be resisting your Ice type moves. Now there is another way that you could possibly run the set, similarly, though not as fast if you would like to, which is a Weather variant. So for this set, we're pretty much going to keep everything exactly the same, except the only thing that we're going to change is our item choices, which on this set are either going to be Ice EMZ or Water EMZ, which is going to be used in combination with either Hail or Rain Dance, both of which have some very interesting properties when used with the Z Crystal, as they both will increase your speed stat by 1 stage, thus turning this Pokemon a bit faster. The other really cool thing about using either of these weather moves is that Articuno actually benefits from both of them. If you're using Hail, you will have 100% accurate Blizzards, and if you're using Rain Dance, you'll have 100% accurate Hurricanes, which allows this Pokemon to really take advantage of these weathers in a really cool way. The other really great thing about this set, obviously, though, is that if you are using Hail, you could make use of the Snow Cloak ability very effectively, because then you'll be making use of the increased evasion, which will make it harder for your opponents to hit Articuno, and thus give it a little bit of an easier time even sweeping your opponents, because your opponents could possibly miss their attacks directed at you. Now moving on to some more defensive sets for Articuno to run, we're going to start this one off by giving it a Bold Nature to increase its physical defense but lower its physical attack, going with the Pressure ability, and this time an EV spread of 248 HP EVs, 176 defense EVs, and 84 special defense EVs to give us Pokemon some pretty amazing bulk, which actually numerically gives it about 300 in both its defense and its special defense stat, in addition to obviously having a pretty high HP stat as well, since we're putting as much HP into it as we possibly can to give it an odd number, since it is weak to Stealth Rock. But for the moves in this set, the first one that we're going to go with is going to be Defog, which might seem a little silly running Defog on a Pokemon that's 4 times weak to Stealth Rock, but it can actually do this, and because Articuno is so bulky in general, it is still a great Pokemon to be able to switch in, possibly take a hit, roost off the damage, and then get a Defog off, because it is able to take hits extremely well from both physical and special attackers on this particular set. But it can be a great Defogger as well in that regard. Then we're going to be running Freeze Dry to be our main stab ice type attack, which on this set is just going to be the only main stab ice option, just because of the utility that it has in being able to be super effective against water types, which allows it to be a little bit of a better move than running like Ice Beam or Blizzard. And then for your third move slot, we're either going to run Hurricane for that additional stab option, which is also pretty cool when used in combination with Defog, because you can lower your opponent's evasion and then Hurricane will have a very, very low chance of missing. Or we can run Toxic to be a little bit more of a stally based set to slowly wear down your opponent and increasing amounts at the end of every turn, or even running Ice Shard in this move slot just to give his Pokemon a little bit of priority. And even with a Bold Nature, you still have a pretty decent physical attack stat to work with where this priority could come in handy. But lastly, we're going to be running Roost on the set to recover HP, and this will be essential for allowing this Pokemon to wall opposing attackers and survive throughout the battle. And obviously, because this is a more defensive set, we're going to be including leftovers for that added recovery at the end of every turn. As for this fifth move set, we're going to be utilizing Articuno's great bulk and pressure ability to stall out opponents. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Timid Nature to boost its speed but lower its physical attack, going with the pressure ability, and this time an EV spread of 248 HP EVs, 8 defense EVs, and 252 speed EVs to make this Pokemon as fast as possible, while also increasing its HP number significantly. And for the item, again, we're going to go with leftovers for the added recovery at the end of every turn. But for the first move on this set, we're going to be going with Substitute, which is a great move to allow this Pokemon to get behind a protective barrier to shield it from attacks and statuses, while it attempts to stall out its opponents. In addition to this, we're also going to be running Roost on this set to give you that really awesome sub-Roost combo, which can potentially make it so that your subs aren't broken if you're faster than your opponents, because you remove your flying typing when you go for Roost, which is why we're running max speed on the set, because it really benefits from having the ability to sub up on opponents by being faster than them, as opposed to having more bulk to take hits. But then we're going to be running Freeze Dry again as our main stab ice type attack because of the extra utility that it has. And then for your third move slot, we're going to be going either with Hurricane for the additional flying type stab, Toxic to be able to status opponents and slowly wear down their HP in increasing amounts at the end of every turn, which works amazingly when used with the sub-Roost combo. But to really have maximum pressure stalling, you can even run Protect in this move slot as well to allow you to just stall out a free turn, which makes it so that your opponent will use their PP even faster, because you can sub, protect, Roost, protect, sub, etc. You can just keep doing it over and over and over again to slowly wear down your opponent's HP, and because of Articuno's great bulk, it's going to be able to take hits and have its subs be set up and roost off the damage very easily against a variety of opponents that you're going to be matched up against. Finally, for the last moveset of this video, we're going to be using Articuno to set up Aurora Veil to support itself and its teammates' defenses. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Timid Nature to boost its speed but lower its physical attack, going with either the Pressure or Snow Cloak ability, and also the same EV spread as the previous moveset to maximize our speed and HP stats, because we don't actually need bulk on this set since we're setting up Aurora Veil. So because of this, our item of choice is going to be the Light Clay item to extend the turns of Aurora Veil from 5 to 8, and in order to even set this up to begin with, we have to get Hail up on the battlefield. Now there are other ways of getting Hail up, such as using one of the many Pokemon that have snow warding, such as Alola Ninetales, Abomasnow, Vanillix, and even Aurorus, but if you're not going to be using this Pokemon with any of those, Hail is definitely going to be your first move because you have to set up the Hail somehow, otherwise Aurora Veil will fail. But once the Hail is set up, you can set up the Aurora Veil to boost your team's ability to take both physical and special attacks significantly, and then feel free to switch into pretty much anything or use Articuno to wall your opponents, because this Pokemon is going to be insanely bulky with the Aurora Veil up, and this is also just a great move to have when using like a sweeping or offensive team, because the team will take significant advantage of the boosted defenses and be able to set up more easily against your opponent's team. But in addition to this, we're going to be running Freeze Dry or Blizzard, depending on whether you want a stronger ice move or the extra utility ice move in Freeze Dry. But we could even run Hurricane on the set as well if you would like to give you a powerful flying type move to be your main stab attack instead of an ice one. And then for the last move, we're going to be going with Roost to allow this Pokemon to recover a significant amount of HP and allow it to last longer to be able to possibly set up an Aurora Veil later on in the battle. Now, if you are going to use this set with a Snow Warding Pokemon, you can completely get rid of Hail as one of your moves and run either Blizzard or Hurricane there if you would like to, just to give you an additional attack, and that gives the set a little bit more utility, but by itself, Articuno can still do this extremely well by setting up its own Hail and its own Aurora Veil. So with that, everybody, that is it for this video on Articuno. As always, thank you all for watching, and be sure to take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.